And we kick off with the Telegraph and the subject of my big opinion tonight, which you can now catch on GBNews Twitter, at GBNews, courtesy of our digital producer, Connor. Now, the BBC faces revolt over Lineker is the headline. Presenters' colleagues boycott Match of the Day after corporation orders him off air for Nazi tweets. The Beeb is facing a backlash after forcing Gary Lineker to step down from Match of the Day, prompting a boycott from other presenters of the show. The corporation took action after Lineker refused to apologise for posting an inflammatory tweet drawing parallels between the government policy on illegal migrants and the language of Nazi Germany. Hunt, we can learn from Swedish lockdown. Jeremy Hunt has said Britain has a lot to learn from Sweden's decision not to impose mandatory COVID measures. The Chancellor acknowledged that the Scandinavian country had achieved a similar outcome to Britain without having to resort to draconian rules. What a breakthrough. Militant doctors trying to shut hospitals. The BMA has been accused of trying to shut down hospitals during strikes next week by using militant tactics to prevent the NHS from preparing. 3-day walkouts by junior doctors expected to begin on Monday could mean up to 500,000 appointments and operations are cancelled as efforts are made to protect A&E and critical care services. What a scandal. The Times now. Mutiny of the day as Lineker gets Star's support. Fellow presenters pull out in solidarity after BBC orders ex-England captain off-air over tweets. Power hugs in Paris. Rishi Sunak with President Macron today at the first bilateral summit between Britain and France in 5 years. The Prime Minister called Macron mon ami and spoke of an entente renewed as he set out a package in which the UK will give France nearly £500 million to set up a migrant detention centre and a dedicated small boats police force. The Daily Mail, mutiny at BBC over Lineker red card. Bosses confirm his small boats Nazi tweet broke guidelines. He will step back from Match of the Day, but co-stars Ian Wright and Alan Shearer boycott show in solidarity. What a pack of numpties they are. The Daily Express, Rishi's £478 million deal. I said we would stop the boats. In an extraordinary deal struck with Britain's historic rival, Rishi Sunak has declared a big step forward in ending the Channel migrant crisis following a deal with Emmanuel Macron. Weekend, BBC stars walk out in solidarity after Lineker suspended. Daily Mirror, MOTD in turmoil. Revolt for Lineker. Stars boycott show in protest at BBC, axing Gary over migrant tweet. OK, and how about the Guardian next? Lineker suspended from BBC over social media row. And 1 in 10 teenagers say they are addicted to porn. And last but not least for now, the Daily Star. Gary Lineker dropped from Match of the Day after tweet row. Beeb's gone too far. Shearer, Wrighty and Scott go on strike in solidarity. The BBC is in crisis after Match of the Day pundits Alan Shearer, Ian Wright and Alex Scott went on strike in solidarity with Spud salesman Gary Lineker, who has been forced to step down from the show. And for now, those are your front pages. Let's get full panel reaction now. Criminal barrister and former Tory MP Jerry Hayes, author and political commentator Emma Wolfe, and journalist and broadcaster Sam Dowler. And look, there's only one story in town, Jerry Hayes, and that is Gary Lineker. BBC faces revolt over Lineker.
There's a whiff of nasty hypocrisy in the air. There are people who are saying, oh, yeah, we agree with Gary Lineker. Oh, he's so right. Isn't it wonderful you said it? Hello, this is the guy who commentated on matches in Qatar, who want to lock up gays, who say to women, you've got no rights. Really, where is his moral compass? It doesn't exist. He's got to go.
All right, and do you think that he will survive this drama? Because I don't think he will.
Well, I don't think he will. No, I think you have to go. Who cares about Ian Wright and all these other people? There are lots of other people, as Eve Pollard said to you earlier in the programme, particularly women, who can take over his job with great ease. I'm sorry, the hypocrisy stinks.
Oh, there you go, not sitting on the fence. Emma Wolfe, is it time to kick politics out of football once and for all?
I'm not answering that. I'm just amazed at how excessive this... I mean, this is every single paper. And look, you know, even the broadsheets, this is like serious papers. This is such a massive big deal. And isn't it weird how the froth is so much more than the substance? The fact of the small boats policy didn't get nearly this much coverage and is actually quite important. But Gary Lineker tweeting, it's like the lockdown files. The amount of outrage over Isabel Oakeshott's releasing of these hundreds of thousands of tweets got so much more coverage than the issue itself, which is that the government basically lied to us, coerced us, manipulated our behaviour.
Actually, no.
Exacerbated our fear.
Objection sustained.
Exacerbated our fear. Can I just finish?
Yeah.
That was the issue. And in fact, it was all about, Isabel shouldn't have done that. Isabel shouldn't
Missing
have
the point.
Yeah,
and killing
missing the
messenger.
point. This whole thing is totally excessive. Who cares?
But it has everything that the Brits love. It's showbiz, it's sport, it's the government. I mean, like, what more are we about?
And the
But if you
migrant
ask
crisis.
most of the people what they're fussed about, they won't know. They just know it's a Gary Lineker tweet.
Here's my problem with...
Is he a walker?
He might be. Nicely done.
Oh, thank you very much.
There you go, little mic drop for you. The reason why I think that his tweets have been problematic, not just invoking the Second World War and Nazism, which I think is in poor taste and offensive to Jewish people,
yes.
but the issue is that he is effectively calling half the population racist.
Yes.
Because this new policy, this law, it may or may not work, the Illegal Migration Act. However, it's supported by over 50% of the voting population, all of whom Gary Lineker is calling racist.
In what way is it supported by half the population?
A lot of the electorate really care about controlling
I get it.
The latest polling,
the
the latest polling says that just 16% of the population are completely against this policy. So it enjoys popular support. And Gary Lineker is saying to all those people, you are racists.
I don't think he is. I think he's expressing his personal views because, there's...
But he works
They're
for the
on the wrong side of the European Court of Human Rights, for example. As soon as we start...
How do you know that? There's been no decision.
And also what Suella said about invasion, what she said about 100 million people coming over.
Yeah, but whatever you think, that resonates.
There are tropes.
What Suella and Rishi
BBC.
Sunak are saying actually resonates with... I know this is unpalatable for you, but it resonates with a lot of people.
Yes.
And the thing is, Twitter is not normal people.
No, it is not normal people.
Gary
You're absolutely
Lineker
right.
is talking
People
to
like
a
us.
certain
No,
group
it's
of
not
people
like
on
that.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Most people are agreeing a lot more with what Rishi Sunak and Suella Braverman are trying, probably in a futile sense,
it's
are
more
trying
it's
to do.
distraction from the Tories.
Well, I
they're
wonder if
terrible.
it's the
Otherwise,
opposite.
why did Brexit happen?
Why don't they sort out the detention centres in the UK first before they start?
That's not the issue, Sam.
Next up, Suella's going to be like, get people on the turrets and shoot them in the boats.
You're a former Tory MP. Are the Tories quids in? Because all we've talked about for the last 3 days is this policy of stopping the boats.
Yeah.
The optics are good for the Prime Minister in terms of those who support this policy, and it's now been in the news for days and days and days.
Yeah. I mean, Rishi Sunak, I think, is a decent man. He's honest. He's everything that Boris Johnson isn't. He's honest, he's
Electable.
decent. And, Boris Johnson, I'm afraid,
he
is
can
a
keep
crook.
his pants
I mean,
on.
no, who cares? Boris
his
Johnson
word.
is a crook. I've known him for 30 years. And he's totally and utterly dishonest. He's totally debased politics in this country. Liz Truss, was it Liz Truss? I can't remember. She was so quick. A complete and utter disaster. Crashed the economy with quasi-Kwarteng. Now you've got someone who looks at the detail. Look at Article 35, all the trans and all the rest of it. Yeah, he looked at it. Look what's happening in the Northern Ireland Protocol. He looks at the details. Look at this. He's having a crack at it. Whether it works or not, I don't know. Whether it's in breach of ECR, we do not know. But everyone forgets that we only have to take
now, I think,
note.
and you're a lawyer, you'll appreciate this. I think calling Boris Johnson a crook is a bit harsh. However, we can
we
can talk
so
about
I say
his...
thoroughly dishonest. There we are.
There you go. Well, you're
100 guineas, please.
entitled to your opinion.
Thank you.
But politically, do you think the Lineker aspect, does it help the Tories because it keeps this story in the news?
It does. I mean, that's why it's on every front page, because it tickles the sort of interests of lots of people. One, BBC, a lot of Tories. I like the BBC. I think they're great, actually, and I do think they're impartial. But that haters the BBC, which just shows you how anti-Tory they are and all the rest of it. And then there's the other people who just sort of say, well, Gary Lineker, what does he know? He's a footballer. So it actually, that's why it's on every front page. It's interesting. And you got it right, I think. It actually helps Rishi Sunak in probably every wrong way. because the majority of people watch this channel. I know they're not necessarily mainstream, although a lot of people obviously love your show, and rightly so. However, you know, it's gonna touch people in a way they're going to say, Rishi Sunak might just be right.
Yeah, I mean, the BBC don't want a star presenter that picks a fight with half of the population. That's my point,
Yes.
Emma Wolf.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we have to acknowledge, you know, that the point about this as well is that the BBC is funded by the licence fee. That's what people are talking about, that he shouldn't be expressing opinions like this when they're supposed to be impartial and neutral.
Yes.
And he's
Yes.
not neutral
Yes.
and he's not impartial. And also, he's a sports presenter.
He talks about football.
But this is
Sam, are you running out of ways in which to defend Gary Lineker?
Well, this is the hill he's choosing to die on, basically, I think.
And he will die.
I think he'll survive. I think he'll be fine.
But if he doesn't survive in the BBC, he will do just as well elsewhere, if not better.
He will
I think
be
he's standing by his
untouchable.
principles. As I said earlier, he's...
Principles?
Yeah.
After supporting
Yes,
the
I get it.
Qatari
Sam,
government?
do you like the Beeb?
I do.
Well, I think
I
your
love
mate
the
Gary Lineker is damaging the Beeb this
Yes.
week. And I think he's
Well, yeah,
giving,
he's put him in a very
giving
difficult
critics of the
position.
Beeb a stick with which to beat it.
Yes.
He's put him in a very
Absolutely right.
difficult position because they obviously want to keep him, but at the same time they can't be seen to not do anything. So they have to obviously, you know, retire him, you know, even if just briefly from Match of the Day. But then obviously you've got, you know, the other two, Shearer and is it
Walking out.
Right,
And Alex Scott is saying she won't do it.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
amazes
exactly.
me is they're really struggling to find people to stand in. I'll do it tomorrow. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it clashes with something else.
Yeah.
And you know anything about sport?
No, but I do actually. I've supported Liverpool all my
dare
life.
you.
But isn't it funny that they're struggling to find other people to jump in?
Well, I think what would be hilarious, there are going to be no presenters tomorrow. Wouldn't it be fantastic if it gets
Are they
record
going to have
ratings?
like a sort of
Bumper
empty
ratings.
chair?
But also, it'll be difficult because whoever takes the chair will be like, oh, so you agree, so you.
I know,
hate
and they're
Gary
all
Lineker,
trying-
do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's
As in,
all
like,
very
so you're-
complicated.
So it's become difficult for the BBC because obviously it's like, you know, you're a what is it, a scab when you cross the
Yeah,
when
you're a
cross the
scab,
line.
you're a
Yeah,
scab.
so that might be difficult for them.
If I
again.
was a young sports presenter, I would say, yeah, I'll do
Yeah,
it.
of
No
course.
problem. No
And they should do. They should.
And a
young-
woman. Let's have a woman.
A young-
there.
Is it
Step
any
up.
surprise that Alistair Campbell, Tony Blair's
of
former
course.
director of
He's all
communications,
over this.
And also Alan Shearer, Ian Wright, they're all behind Lineker because they are the media and political elite.
Because they
Of course.
agree with him, which is not the point.
But also they are insulated.
not real
They are insulated
people.
from the impact of an influx of migrants
This is
into the
what I was
country
trying to say.
and the migrant hotels.
This is what I was trying to say earlier, Mark. It's very easy to preach when you are a very, very... I mean, look
Living
at him,
in St
you know.
John's Wood.
Oh, he's living in St John's Wood. You know, you got an umbrella because it's snowing a little bit and someone carries you out to your... Someone carries you out practically on a sedan chair out to your chauffeured limo. He's not living the real world. He's not living in Sheppey or in Jaywick or in...
Yes, you're right.
Harlow.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean? He's
Yes.
not feeling
Yes.
the impact
And what
of
a
any
gift.
of this.
What a gift for the enemies of the BBC.
Yeah.
For Nadine Dorris, that towering intellect that we all... Oh, does she present a show or is it something
No,
else?
the enemy.
Oh, the enemy. Well, I mean,
So
no one will
loads
listen
them.
to
You
it.
can forget about her.
Oh, forget about her.
forget
Struck
about
off.
But I mean...
But the thing is, I think with the Tories, this is very much a deflection because they know they're out. And they're like, this is Rishi Sunak's last
I
attempt to
don't
do something,
think the Tories are out.
meaningful, and if he stops the votes, which he will not. But he's just they're just, you know, obviously the country is falling apart.
It is.
I mean, every other
The country
aspect,
is falling
in every
apart.
other aspect. So immigrants, you know, the boats are really quite low down on most people's.
You're from the Welling Garden City intelligentsia, the literati.
I'm glad you don't know where I live.
Well, there you go.
I
You
didn't
told me,
realise
I'm
there
not gonna
was
say it.
one.
You know, there is. There is.
If only. Look at lots more to come.